Aloha and welcome to Lucy's Paradise Podcast. Today we have the artist, Nathaniel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure being here.
So let's start off kind of by like how we know each other and a little bit about your art.
Okay. Well, somebody signed me up to the gym, and
Yeah.
that's how I kind of came down, and we met, and we just started talking, and I started talking about my art.
Yeah, I was really interested in your art. I just thought you were like so fascinating. And then
Thank you.
when you showed me the art and I saw, and this is one of your paintings here. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, you're so interesting. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
Absolutely.
And then you want to tell us a little bit about you, like where you grew up?
I grew up in two different places, in a country little town setting, New London, Connecticut. That's where I was first, like as a child, and then New York.
Oh, okay.
So I did my other half in New York when I was like 20. I went to New York and I stood with family, and then I got into my art, like business in New York. So
What brought you to Hawaii?
family, first I had, my girlfriend and her kids, and then when I came here on vacation, we conceived a child and went back, and I was like, let's have him born there, so we decided to come to Hawaii, and had another one like right after. So my kids were born here and,
Oh,
and
nice.
raised here. So
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yep. Thank you.
And then you like Hawaii?
I love it. Like as far as, the creative side, being an artist, and I've always wanted to live on an island.
Oh, okay.
So for some reason I chose the most beautiful island in the world.
It's such a contrast. New York, New York and then Hawaii. It's just such a contrast, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Huge difference.
Yeah. The first time I went to New York, I think I was about 8 years old when I went to New
Okay.
York. My brother graduated from West Point.
Okay.
So that my experience going to New York was just like tourist stuff. But I remember climbing the Statue of Liberty and being like
nice.
at the very, very top where they have the crown and looking
Yeah.
out.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. And it's crazy that I even remember that.
Yeah.
But I remember just like walking up all these steps and being like,
Wow.
what? When is this over? But it's just, as a kid and
Yeah.
being born and raised here on the island, and then you're seeing all this like city stuff. It was like really cool.
How long was you there for?
I honestly don't really remember. My brother was just graduating, so we just
Okay,
went
okay,
like for the
just went there for-
graduation and all
yeah.
that. So yeah, probably a few days or like a
Yeah.
week or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember the Empire State Buildings. I was all the way at the top,
Wow.
and looking down like, wow, and I can see the building curve.
Oh.
That's what I remember. I can see like the building curve out. I was like, wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I know some people aren't into city, but I don't know. I think I kind of like a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit of both. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then how did you get into art?
Well, the crazy part about it was I did some time. My father was an artist,
Oh.
and at the age of like 5 and stuff, he gave me like a pencil and a book to draw from. It was like how to draw,
Yeah.
horses and animals. So looked through the book, and I kind of started from the last page, started just drawing, and that's when it first started. So when I inspired to be like a full-time like artist was when he was working and he was doing his art. So after he passed, at the age of 13 he passed, so I decided like I didn't want to work and be an artist. I just wanted to be an artist.
Interesting.
So
You're
that
saying
was
he passed at 13 or when you were 13?
when I was 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yep. So that was like kind of where it started. And
That's so young.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yep. And I also did time. I did time before, and that's where I kind of figured it out. Like my art can actually sustain me. I used to do envelopes for inmates, and I used to do handkerchiefs
smart,
and stuff.
yeah.
So when I was making more money than the highest paid inmate in there working for the warden,
Dang.
I realized, like, you know what? I'm in here and I can do this,
Yeah.
And I used to send money home to pay for my own phone bill,
Wow.
So that was like when it first like really happened to me, where it
Right.
clicked,
Right.
like, let me do this
Like I
full
figured
time.
out this kind of business way. Like you basically made it a business,
Yeah,
and it was sustaining you.
yeah,
So you're like, oh,
yeah. I
that
was like,
kind of
man,
hit you. Like I got to do this.
yeah. I said, head into the world. Wait until I hit the world. I have a
Right.
broader audience. I have, a lot more opportunities. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's
That's a good point. That must be like kind of exciting, like in a way. Like,
yeah.
especially, what was the first painting you sold once you got out? Or
Um,
like,
I was actually doing a lot of airbrush.
oh,
So when I
airbrush.
first had got out, I had 16. I was working at an airbrush store.
Oh, okay.
I was drawing the shirts, and I started, learning how to airbrush.
Wow.
So when I got to New York, I was doing a lot of airbrush, canvas on T-shirts. I was actually the airbrush artist for a tattoo shop.
Oh, wow.
So I would be
Really cool.
in front of the shop airbrushing, drawing the crowd, and I would draw for the tattoo artists that had to do big pieces on the people that they couldn't use paper or, so I would come in and I would draw the pieces actually on the people and they would
Wow.
tattoo them.
That's crazy. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that.
Yep. And I was like, man, you're making all this money. I said, I want to learn how to tattoo. So my first piece was actually on somebody who was inside. He was like, yo, just do something on me. I was like, all right, cool. He said, you're an artist already. I trust you.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to be my first one. He was like, it's all right.
I
So.
mean, you're bored in there. Yeah. Shoot, I'd be getting all kinds of stuff.
So my first,
How did it come out, you think?
it was good.
It was good?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was shocked. He was like, wow. I was like, wow. Like,
That's funny.
I can really do this. And
Wow.
and about 2 weeks later, I bought all my equipment and I started tattooing on my own.
Dang, that's amazing.
So yeah.
So you tattoo. What is your favorite form of the painting? Because you were saying you got into airbrush.
Yeah.
But
So airbrushing, tattoos, and painting is what my three mediums are. I've been doing airbrush and tattoos for over 20 years.
wow.
So that's kind of my main, thing. But I started evolving more into my paintings, for the last 10, 11 years, So I'm now geared more, doing more paintings, doing gallery work, murals now that I've been called to do murals.
Right. Right.
So now it's like, let me concentrate more on, that side of my art. Even though I still do airbrush, now I airbrush on the murals,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
so I can do that.
Could be like a little faster or like an outline for stuff.
More
Or something.
details.
More detail.
I get more details out of the
Interesting.
pictures. I'm not the can person, so I don't do spray cans.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm about to get into it,
Right. Right.
so I
Right.
can learn how to do big things with the can and include the airbrushing to get finer details.
Okay.
So I'm gonna mix those two mediums
Yeah.
once I start doing like big murals and stuff like that. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
You're making me want to paint now.
That's what I try to do, inspire others to get into,
Yeah.
the creative side and stuff of
Yeah.
what they
I think
do.
it's a good outlet, good medium for people.
Yes.
To just.
Yes. And I do the painting classes, they love it. People, say it's like their therapy. Like I've had people come up to me crying because they seen somebody else get so involved into their painting that they're like, wow, I've never seen them so happy. I've
Oh,
never
wow.
seen them, so into something and smiling and being joyful. So, I enjoy doing those classes because I know it does a lot, for people.
Well, a lot of people don't realize like their paint's ability.
Yeah.
I mean, I only started painting. Shoot, yeah, not even that long ago.
Uh,
And my friend had like a paint. She wanted to do like a paint night, like
Okay.
our own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, I was like, yeah, sure. And I went over and she was like, you need to paint more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then
That's what's
I
up.
always just felt I'm such a perfectionist. So
Yeah.
for me, it's
Yeah.
hard to like get started, and then if I feel like, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a challenge with that, but as I've kept practicing painting, I just give myself like time or like
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't
You have to give yourself room.
room, like I don't stress about it as much. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
It's supposed to be joyful. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself,
yeah.
not trying to perfect everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I've actually had a painting class where it was like couples, so there was the first time I seen a lot of men
Oh,
in the class,
interesting.
which was pretty cool,
Yeah.
And I asked everybody, I said, whose first time is this, doing
Yeah.
the painting? Like half of them raised their hand. Like, I've never painted. I was like, oh, this is gonna be an interesting class,
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it was a hard piece that I was doing. I had put a sunset, and then I wrote the word aloha into the sunset.
Oh, wow.
So everybody's piece came out great. They were like shocked.
Wow.
They were like, wow, I did this.
That's
like,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So it was pretty cool.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I definitely want to go to one of those. That'll be
absolutely.
fun. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely let me know. Yeah, painting's not that easy,
No.
but it's good that you have the natural talent for it.
Yeah, I thank God for it,
Yeah.
to be able to, that I can utilize my gifts and to inspire others, to help others and stuff like that while I
Yeah.
sharpen up my skills and stuff. So I love it.
What about your kids? Are they into painting too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, all my kids.
So you're like
well,
passing it down again. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. My oldest daughter, she's not really too much into it.
Okay.
But her sister, she's like another artist.
Oh, wow.
She loves to paint too, and then my two younger kids, they're 11 and 10. So my daughter, she is amazing. Like, I've taught her a painting class, and then I look at her painting,
Wow.
and I'm like, wow, girl, she's 10.
Wow.
and I'm
She's got
like,
the talent too.
She got it.
Yeah.
She got it.
That's cool.
So I'm like, man, you gotta let me get some time,
Yeah,
more
yeah,
time
yeah.
with you. I'm gonna sharpen you up. By the time you're like 16, you gonna be unstoppable.
Yeah, if she loves it too,
Yeah.
she could do it too. God, I always wished I could do art, and then just make money that way.
Yeah.
But right now it's just for fun for me.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
my friend's daughter Mia is like incredibly good at art, and sometimes she'll have something on the fridge.
Yes.
And I'm like, there's no way that she drew it. There's no way. And she's like, no, she drew it. I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she has that. She's not so much into painting, but she does have like a lot of drawings. So,
Okay.
which
All
is
right.
like, that's part of it,
beautiful.
right?
Yeah. That's kind of how you start. You have all these mediums that you work with, and then you kind of evolve from one to the other. So just because she's getting her drawing down packed and
Right.
good, she can take that and do paintings later on.
Yeah.
Draw out your paintings, draw out things that you have to do. Your base of art, I feel, is your drawing abilities. Once you can draw, you can basically draw to do anything else. Like drawing
That
for
makes sense. That's like
airbrushing.
the foundation.
Yeah, that's like your foundation. Like drawing for airbrushing, when I was in the store, I would draw on the T-shirts, freehand.
Oh, wow.
So he would have me draw all the T-shirts, and he would airbrush them.
Wow.
So and then I was like, listen, I want to airbrush.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, all right, cool. So he started to train me. So for me, at that age, 16, to be able to draw for somebody else who's airbrushing, and then me being taught was like, man, this is like so cool,
Yeah.
And then his store shut down,
Oh, shoot.
and I was like, man, like, what's up? He was like, man, it's just like hard and stuff like that. So that's what caused me to get locked up at the time, because I was trying to get money to help him open up the other store, So I did some foolish stuff. I was like 17, and that's what caused me that. But to be able to go through that period of my life, it was almost like I figured it out,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
and I was like, I'm never coming back here.
Well, they say a setback is opportunity for a comeback,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if I'm sure I'm sure that there's people that took that setback and just were like, oh, and didn't try to find the positive. But
yeah.
but when what I was telling you earlier is I was taking business class when I was living in California, and I was attending College of Marin, and I heard that one of these business teachers coordinated a inside tour to San Quentin. And I always am just fascinated by that kind of stuff. Like when I was younger, and then I don't know if you know this about me, but when I joined the military, I became a military police officer, and then I got out last
Okay.
year. So I no longer do law enforcement, but when I actually was when I was like in that class, and I took that class only because she did that during the semester. I don't know
Oh.
what that really had to do with business, but I was like, I want to do that. I want to
Yeah.
go. So
Yep.
I took this business class. We did an inside tour to San Quentin. It was really fascinating, and we got to talk to a lot of people in there. And they asked, like, what do you guys want to do, like when you get
Yeah.
out of college? And I was like, oh my God, I'm about to tell these guys I might do law enforcement. Like, and they're like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And I'm like, yeah. So it was really interesting, and it was just like such a different insight. And I did have a friend that did some time at San Quentin as well, and he made me a prison meal one time, and I
Yes.
was like, so luckily, I didn't make any mistakes where I had to end up, doing that. But it's still very fascinating that like your survival instinct, right, will always kick in,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and just in life. And then so it's just interesting and amazing to see these stories, I mean, because there are people that were locked up that started writing books and like all kinds of
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
So I found it interesting, and then they have this mural in there.
Ah.
And the way that it's painted, there's like eyes or something in the middle of the mural, and it like follows you everywhere you walk around.
Ah.
And that artist became some famous artist. I don't know the whole backstory,
Yeah.
but I thought that was super interesting,
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
I loved that experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like an experience like that really
Really
kind of
changes.
helped. Yeah, and I think it kind
Yeah.
of helped the trajectory of my life, because my mom always taught me to like think about each thing, like
Yeah.
really think about if you're gonna do that, because what are the, what's the possible outcomes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
me, I was like, I'm not gonna be a risk taker,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
risk in other ways,
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool,
Yeah.
and the art was nuts. So
And it's crazy because I was in Rikers Island. I was on the island, and I did murals throughout like a lot of places that I did time, and it was just like, wow, like I wanna actually create a program, for inmates
oh, that's a good idea.
that have an opportunity to send their work out into the world and have somebody else take it, publish it, make it viable for the world.
Yeah.
To people can be like, where did that come from? Because
Right.
there's so many talented individuals who are inside that nobody will ever see their work.
Right. Right,
So
yeah.
just to be able to get their work, have it sold, and compensate them.
Yeah.
Every time it sells, they get something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they can actually
You get
look.
14 honey buns or something.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. So it gets dropped off in their commissary, so they can buy whatever they want and live kind of off of their artwork,
Yeah.
even though you're inside.
Well,
So.
yeah. Well, it's kind of inspiring too, I mean, also if you're able to like develop your skills and hone your
Yeah.
skills and get better. I mean, there's people that get degrees and stuff, so it's kind of the same.
Like, what else you gonna
Same
do while you're in there?
Yeah.
You know?
Same concept. Yeah.
I used to put headphones on and block everything out and draw for 16 hours,
Wow.
18 hours. I would skip chows because I'm working on projects, and I have food because, people always bring me food. That's how they pay. Honey buns, cookies, soups, whatever. I'd be having my bed in commissary stacked up because people come drop off bags for all the envelopes, handkerchiefs, and stuff that I've done.
That's so funny. Because that's kind of what I did when I went to basic training. That's kind of, it feels like that in a sense. Like you can only do so much, and we only have like weekends off where we can actually leave.
Okay.
And so I had like other basically like work moms that I would have when I worked at Apple that would send me stuff.
Yeah.
And we ran out of toilet paper one time. And I was like, hey, we ran out of toilet paper. They sent me so much. I was the only one that had it.
Wow.
The army ran out of toilet paper.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when the thing, they're like, oh, you got a big box or whatever. And when it came, everybody was like, yo, I'll pay for your movie this weekend. I'll pay for your food. So I was like trading it. I was like, dang, this is what it feels like.
That's new money.
Yeah.
That's money.
Yeah. So a lot of bartering, which makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's.
And it's the little things too.
Yes.
Right? It's those little things that bring you a little bit of joy.
Yeah.
Probably in a tough situation like that.
Yeah. And I came out with pictures. I came out
that's cool.
with handkerchiefs that I was working on inside, and once I brought them out, I had them framed, and they were hanging above my bed. Like, man, that meant a lot.
Like a reminder for you.
A reminder, yeah. And then crazy, I go on vacation and I come back to where I was living, and I was by myself. I had like a small little 1-bedroom, and I had my artwork everywhere, and the landlord, I had to pay rent, so I left the rent inside, the house, know, and I told them, I said, listen, it's on the shelf. All you got to do is open the door and grab it and just close it. Man, I came back and all my pictures were gone. I was like, landlord, are you kidding me? I just got robbed for all my original paintings.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man.
So did he do it, or did
I don't know.
You'll never know.
I'll never know.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? But he was the only one to have access to my place.
Yeah, he could have potentially just like not closed it right, and then somebody else took advantage. But it sounds like that's a little too coincidental.
That's a little bit too coincidental. You know what I'm saying? And
that's horrible.
Yes, and he took the one that I did inside. He took my original big pun. Like, he took like some stuff, and it was hard for me not to get back into that mindset.
Get worked up over it.
Yeah, and be like, I'm gonna come see you, and then cause more issues for myself and get locked up again.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I can create another one. That's okay. And I had to kind of like succumb to that and just be okay.
Oh, it's such a fight, because I have a temper, so I understand. It's like that fight when you're like, oh, I could just do something about this.
Yeah.
But then like as soon as you unleash that anger, you're like, like the second you're done, it's not worth it.
No.
And, yeah.
And I was in a tattoo shop at the time. I was at a biker's tattoo shop.
Oh, dang.
So I knew a bunch of bikers. Like, bro.
Yeah. It was, that must have been tempting.
What?
Oh, that would have broke my heart. It's like, come on. To me, that's like one of the more, that's one of the most invading and like things is like when someone, especially when it's someone you kind of like given some trust to, like a friend or something, when they take something from you on purpose, to me, that's like a real betrayal. Like that is like
hurts. That's a deep hurt.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, if I call these bikers, and he had a jewelry store. Oh my so I was
this guy.
I was so tempted to go up in the
Why would he need to steal?
Exactly.
Just some people though, like kleptos or like people that really are like thieves, a lot of the times it's the adrenaline of doing it. It has nothing to do Yeah, like they know it's wrong, but it's almost like a drug addiction.
It's
for like the adrenaline.
It's like, oh yeah, like Bruh, like I could have set those bikers off right inside your jewelry store.
Yeah.
You know, but and then I would have had to do a favor. It was like a favor for a favor. You know, so I was like, yeah, I don't even want to go this route. You know what I'm saying? So I had to let it go. And
Yeah.
I keep on creating.
Yeah. Gotta let it go. I always tell myself too, it's like if someone does take something from me, maybe they needed it more than me. And I
Yeah.
just that's my thought process to let it go. Almost like I donated.
Yeah, yeah. Hard to donate
Yeah.
something, but
Like without you actually wanting to do it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that sucks. And that's thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah.
That's a crappy story, man. New York, you got
No, I was in Connecticut at the time.
Oh, this was in Connecticut. Okay, I thought this was in New York. I was like,
Nah, this was in
so
Connecticut.
I'm even more okay.
Yeah,
Jeez.
this was when I had my tattoo shop in New York. I had a tattoo shop in New York. And they had told me, and I had it for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
You know, I was on a block where there was another tattoo shop. You know, but that other tattoo shop had dogs in the shop. I was hearing a lot of negative stuff about that tattoo shop. So my shop was like the hottest shop on the block.
Oh, no.
I had put artwork on the panels, on the ceiling. You know, I was going to change my rug floors to be the name of the shop. You know what I'm saying? It was called Boone's Art World.
Oh, wow.
You know, my name's Boone, so it was my art world, you know. So
Like that.
they told me, bro, listen, man, you're making money here, and they're about to rob you. I already had a shotgun in the store. I had a sword in the store.
Yeah.
And I was about to get a handgun. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I was like, I'm not doing this. I said, I just did my time.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy
Right.
to do this again.
Create any type of situation, even a
Yes.
situation that could get it you looked at
Escalate.
again or anything. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, for you, it's like you know, what is it, like tiptoeing a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, which is not fun.
No.
But
Not when I'm doing something I love. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And,
you're trying to do good and
Yes.
dang, it's really that bad over there. Wow.
Yes,
So
yes.
you just made a choice. Then
I
to
had
close it.
to. I had to make the
Wow.
choice. I shut the shop down, you know, and when I was shutting it down, I created a crowd in the front because they was like, yo, what's up? I was like, yo, I'm moving. They was like, no, like, you can't leave. Like,
Yeah.
people started coming, and I was like, yo, I shut my gates. All my gates. And I packed up the shop. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I went back to Connecticut. You know, so I started my tattooing in Connecticut. I was doing tattoo parties. So I would go to people's homes. You had to have the minimum of 5 people throughout the week for me to go to your house.
Oh, wow.
And on the weekends, I would do 10 people. You know, so I was getting booked.
Wow.
You know, so I was just doing my tattoos over there. You know what I'm saying? Here on the island, I have the opportunity to do all my art. You know, that's why I love the island like that, because
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
just do tattoos. I don't just do airbrush, and I
Right.
don't just do paintings.
Right.
But I get to tap into all my mediums here.
Right.
And
Right.
utilize all my mediums.
What type of tattoo style do you have?
I really love shading. I love details and stuff like that. So I create kind of my own, you know.
Okay.
I don't have a favorite artist. you
Yeah, I'd
know.
love to look at your tattoo art.
Yep.
Check it out.
So I don't have a favorite artist that I follow. I don't have anybody in the painting that I follow or airbrushing, because it was almost like I wanted to create my own style.
Right, right.
You
And
know.
not get the influences, like looking at it
Yes.
too much. And,
Yes,
it puts that
yes.
idea on your head.
It'll just start happening.
Yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
was like, no. I said, let me create my own. I want to
Right.
be my own. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to
Yeah.
have somebody to look at my work and be like, hey, that looks like this artist that I know. I'm like, no, that's not his.
Right,
You know,
right.
so I just basically go on my own style.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And then, have you done tattoos here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
I've done pieces here. I've done big cover-ups that I've had people tell me, yo, like 3 shops refuse to do this cover-up.
Yeah, they don't like to do it.
They don't like to
A
do
real
cover-ups.
artistic person though could do it.
Yeah, and there was a big one on his arm. You know, it was like half of his wife, then the other half of a mask. And he said as soon as he showed his wife, As soon as he got done with it, he went home. He showed his wife. She was like, "That don't look like me. She ain't like it." He was like, I was like, wow. So you actually did that whole
You
thing.
didn't like pick a picture that she liked or something? That's kind of
guess the tattoo artist,
going on?
he didn't make it like the picture.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was like, yeah, no. So he carried that around himself for years with, her not liking that.
Shoot, that
So,
sucks.
yeah. So when I approached him on that, and he was like, "Yo, could you cover this up?" I was like, "Sure," And when he came back to me, he was like, "Bro, I went to 3 tattoo shops, and they all told me no." I said, "Well, have a seat." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I covered it up for him, his wife was loving it.
Did it actually look like her? You just did her?
I know. I did a tiger.
Oh, a tiger.
A complete new tattoo over it. So she loved the tiger because she picked the green eyes.
Wow.
And put green eyes in them.
She loved the tiger more than her own face.
Yeah. Yep. So
wow, that's amazing though.
That was pretty cool, and that's why I do my art too. Is just to help others.
Right.
Because
now he can feel better about it.
Yeah.
'Cause nobody likes to have a tattoo that, especially when you try to. I mean, that was kind of like almost like a cute, sweet gesture, and then they're like, no.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I thought you were gonna love it. And
yep. Nope.
dang.
Nope. So yeah.
Yeah, cover-ups are hard.
They're hard.
I don't blame some tattoo shops, but I just think they're just, they don't want to take the risk. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if it doesn't come out right, or that cover up, you can start seeing it through, the tattoo, and the customer is not happy. That's going to be a problem for the shop.
Yeah.
So they don't want to take those kind of risks. And
right.
if you're not that creative side or confident enough,
it is
with
going to
your
be
work,
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to put yourself in a tight spot there.
Yeah. So if they say no, sometimes you got to do yourself a favor and take the no.
Yeah. They had told him he had to get it lasered to get it reduced from all the ink and how dark it was and the line work. And he was like, "I'm not going to go through that twice. Like, have it removed like that, have to go through that pain, and then they leave me scarred, and then, have to tattoo over that."
Yeah.
So he was just like, yeah, no. So
yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
What do you think about when people get their tattoos removed?
I mean, I guess that's and it's crazy.
Now
you
it's
say
like
that.
another business.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. I was thinking about doing tattoo removals, and just including that, in my stuff too, just so I can be like, would you want it off? Would you want a cover up?
Options.
Yeah, options for people.
What do you got to do that here?
I guess like laser,
just
or
learn all the laser stuff?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know of a place that does that.
No, that's why.
Hawaii is pretty limited.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about taking class and getting into that, because you don't have tattoo shops that offer that as well. So I'd be like one of the first ones to do tattoo removals and tattoos.
Right. Do you want to have a shop here? Is that like a goal or anything?
No,
or not really.
Because I already kind of had the shop, in New York and stuff like that. Now I have my studio. I have a studio downstairs in my house.
Oh, okay.
And I do construction too. So I kind of built my whole first floor as my studio. So I gutted everything out, and I painted my walls. And it was just like, let me turn my whole first floor into my studio.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's smart.
So I have.
So you kind of have a studio.
Yeah. I have my tattoo chair, and I have all my tattoo equipment in the area. And then I have my painting area and my airbrush area,
That's cool.
And then I have like a little lounge area where people can come, sit, watch TV. I have a few couches there, huge bean bags. So, so I kind of have my own little spot.
Nice. Yeah.
And I live upstairs.
Yeah.
So I don't want to start, it's just overhead costs.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to have a
No.
Yeah.
And I choose and pick who I want to work on.
That's a good point.
You know, I don't have to take everybody that comes into the shop.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just always have one of those signs. Can refuse service.
Yeah, definitely.
But luckily here in Hawaii, you know, it's people are nicer.
Yeah.
That's one thing that you cannot
Yes.
get or mimic anywhere else almost. Yeah.
No. Like every time I go to the mainland, I travel to the mainland like once a year, you know, and I do all the tattoos that I was doing before, like tattoo parties, you know. So all the people that I've done, once I go down
Connect
to
with
the
them
mainland,
again. Yeah.
I reconnect with them. I let them know I'm going to be coming down. They book 2 weeks before I even land, you know. So I have bookings for 2 weeks. So when I land and they see me at parties, they book as well, you know. So I go out for like a month. And I go friends, I go family, I go, you know, and just do that for about a month.
That's
But
smart.
then I miss Hawaii. I'm like, I'm out. See y'all later. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do this for too long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the atmosphere is different, the people are different.
Yeah, that's why I love living here.
Yeah.
'Cause, I'll go to LA and like do modeling stuff, and then everyone wants to stay out, and everyone's just so obsessed with like celebrities and fame and
Yeah.
like stuff that doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Like when you
matter here.
become 80 years old and you're like on your deathbed, you're not
Yeah.
gonna talk. You're probably not gonna ever bring up the fact that you met any celebrity or
Yeah.
like
No,
you're not gonna talk
that's
about
the last
any of
thing.
that stuff.
No.
And so to me, it's just there's a little too much of that there. And obviously the people, you know. So yeah, I love that I can be like, all right, guys, bye.
Yeah.
And they notice I'm not from there immediately because I'm like happier than everybody else.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
where are you
Where you
from?
from?
You know.
Yep.
And that I try to bring that aloha with me. And,
Yes. And I go back and I bring a bunch of lays with me.
oh,
You know,
that's awesome.
so the people who book the tattoo parties, I give them a lay.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
awesome.
so they're always like, "Yeah, this is my Hawaiian artist. He comes down and stuff like that." So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That is cool.
It's pretty cool. You know,
That's awesome.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good to like maintain those friendships,
Those
relationships.
relationships, yeah. Yep. Very important.
See how people's lives, you know, are
Have
turning
been.
out. It's crazy to me that I'm about to turn 35, and it's just crazy that like half my friends have kids and like all this stuff. I'm like, dang,
Yes.
it's crazy.
And it's and crazy to say, but it's getting worse. You know, so every time I go back, you know, I hear of somebody dying.
Oh, like the crime and
The
stuff.
crime is getting worse and everything's getting worse. And I'm soon like, I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing this anymore. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come down, have to be in someone's house. Like last time I was there was a shootout right outside.
Dang.
You know, and I was outside. So when I went back upstairs, everybody was like, "Boone, are you all right? Are you all right? Did you hear?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, right there.
Right. But then you're like, oh yeah, I want to go back to Hawaii.
Yeah. It's like,
I feel like it's
I'm good
getting a
with
little bit worse here too, which
Yeah.
is kind of scaring me a little bit.
that recent shooting they had in Waianae, that the guy drove the truck through the house, and you know that was right down the road from my house.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is what I'm trying to get away from. You know what I'm saying? And this
Yeah.
happens right here. But that's why I want to implement, you know, the arts into the schools. That's why I'm involved a lot with the youth. You know, so I do like art classes with the youth. I talk to them about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You know, schools have invited me to come in and do a career day.
That's
You
good.
know,
Yeah.
So I do career days for elementary schools. I've done career days for like Youth Challenge, the program, you know. So like wherever there's youth, I'm going to be doing next week a painting class and talk entrepreneur with Hawaiian youth
That's good. Yeah.
organizations.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know
And then you have
it's-
your own personal story where you're like, hey, like, you know, this is better. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, because I try to tell my nephews and stuff, like, life is just about choices, you know?
Yeah.
Life's about choices, and, you know, some of them are very costly.
Yes, they are.
And some of them aren't. And so and luckily my nephews are like, they're pretty good boys.
That's
you know,
good.
they stay out of trouble, and
Yes, that's
they listen
good.
to their mom and all.
Yeah,
So
that's
thank
good.
God. But I'll get on them sometimes because I'll hear my nephews like going to raves or whatever, and
Yeah, just like, bro.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's just it's so different too. Like just with drugs and stuff has changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just go out and like, actually when I last went to LA, some girl like offered me something, and then in my mind I was like, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
like it could have been something that, I mean, I don't do drugs, but I'm just saying like 10 years ago it could have actually been like an option.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward with fentanyl and all that, like
Yeah.
you wouldn't even ever take anything from someone you don't know.
No.
So
Yeah.
I had that thought when I was there because I went to some after thing in LA, and this girl's like, oh yeah. And I know that in her mind, she's probably just like high and being sharing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think she was like anything crazy, but it's such a different world now,
Yes, it
know?
is.
And even that kind of stuff, I tell my nephews, I'm like, dude, it's not worth it.
No. Yeah.
I try to like
Yeah. And that's why I want to
guide
kind
them.
of give them something to get into,
Yeah.
to get involved with. You know what I'm saying? To keep your mind off something, to get into your zone.
Yeah, get into your zone. Yeah.
You know, because it's important for you to find
Almost
that
like
zone.
it is almost like a meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost like a meditation.
You block like everything out.
Yeah.
The world around you gets blocked out, and you get to concentrate and create, be creative, do something you love, and you can do beautiful things. So that's what I kind of like to do for the youth, because I never had that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I never had an artist that came to talk to the school,
Right.
or just anywhere for me to be able to follow, or even just be like, hey, I could do that too. I had to figure all this out on my own, so just to be able to talk to the youth and be able to be like, hey, you can do this. If I can do this, where I came from,
Right.
you can do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. And art, I think here too is so encouraged, as you can
Yes.
see with all the murals everywhere.
Yes,
And-
yes, it's beautiful.
And I love it because people are like, what is that? Or who is that? And it's like, I can just give you a whole Hawaiian history lesson with all the murals that are around town. I can
Yes.
explain it to you because some people are like, why is there this lady? I'm like, that's not just this lady.
Yeah.
That's our former queen. Like,
Yes,
So,
yes, yep.
I think it keeps
There's
the
a
history
story.
alive, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. There's a story to it. That's why when the tattoos are created, you got to have a story.
yeah.
You got to have something, meaningful, or something to talk about. It's like you're creating stories all over you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very important.
Where else have you done art or like art classes?
Here on the island, and I would say in the mainland, I haven't done painting classes because, again, my whole concentration was the tattoos in the mainland.
Right.
But here I get to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tapped into that more here than anywhere else.
And I feel like tourists would like that too.
Yeah, yeah.
If you connected to like hotels or whatever.
And to be able to do it down there, So I'm always
There's so many opportunities.
so many,
Dang.
so many.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, yo, if I could do this and live off of what I love to do, there's enough work out there for anybody to get involved with and be able to do it too. You just have to be dedicated.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making me want to paint for hours and hours. My friend's an artist, and she's loved a lot of the stuff that I've painted. I've sent her a lot of stuff, but she was just like, she said it was something about like the childlike way that I paint. Like she can, I don't know, but she said some quote about like, I forget what the quote was, but it was a quote about like how it took somebody a certain amount of years to paint well, but then it took them like even longer to paint like a child. And she was like, that's kind of how I
Yeah.
see your art. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. We always have that, when it comes to our art, we have different ways of expressing it and putting it together and creating that image.
Oh, do you want to talk about this, by the way?
Um,
Your painting?
sure, that was like one of my first big ones that I've created. And interesting that as I go along, I get more detailed and more detailed and create them with more shadows. Like there was one that I have now that's like a 30, 38 by 46. It's a huge one,
Wow.
and that one has details that's like, wow. I'm even like, man, I did that?
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Surprising yourself. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So now it's like I want to go bigger. I want to continue doing turtles. I want to do a series of turtles because they're very meaningful. In Hawaii, they have a lot of meanings to them. So to be able to create like a catalog of turtles, a series of turtles,
Yeah.
give a lot of people options. Like, man, I like that one. I like this one. I like that one. I like that
Yeah,
one.
they're pretty. This one's side-eyeing me a little bit.
Yeah.
The eyes will follow you.
And now what I'm thinking is connecting Hawaii with my turtles is like I want to go and take pictures of certain landscapes and certain things,
Like
and
have it as a background.
have it
or
as a
something.
background, having a
Very
nice sunset with a part of like Heinemann's hat, and then half of it would be the turtle underneath,
No, yeah. That would be cool.
so people could be like, hey, I know where that's at.
You know the story of Chinaman's hat at
No.
all? So it was actually one of my first paintings. So the story of Chinaman's hat is that there's a Chinaman sitting underneath, and that's his hat.
Oh.
So when my friend and I were painting, I'll show it to you after. But I did that. I painted the little Chinaman hat, and then I painted him
okay.
underneath the water.
Nice. That's what's up.
Yeah.
You see? That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, there's always stories. There's always something when you create something and have something that you've done, you can connect it to something. It creates more
What drew
value.
you to turtles?
I feel they have a strong meaning to them as far as like resilience. They're connected to nature, the water, the land.
They're also like kind of majestic.
Yeah,
in- They draw people. People just like, oh, turtle, and then they just start running towards it.
Yes,
and
yes. Now, I've had a moment with the turtle, and I think that was like my first real moment. I was at Hanama Bay, right? And you have those. When you first go in, they show you the cliffs and the things.
Yeah.
And they're like, you just can't you can't do anything with the turtle. You just have to watch it and stuff like that. I'm a risk taker,
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know if I should be, but there was a huge one that came next to me. Huge. I mean, this was at least about this big.
Yeah. Wow.
And
That is huge.
It was just floating next to me, and I grabbed the sides, took off, woo, and I was like this underwater. It was a moment that I'll never forget, and it was like, wow. Really, wow, I experienced that underwater.
You surfed with a turtle.
Yeah, so eventually, I'm thinking I might create a turtle painting with
Yeah.
somebody attached to the side going underwater. I don't know,
You could.
but yeah.
It would be controversial. I like it.
Yeah. I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I was born and raised here, and we definitely did that in the past, and it wasn't. We would get slapped by our aunties.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah.
touch. Leave them alone. And then I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
It's just one time.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. Yeah, I'll never have this opportunity again.
That's crazy how big it was. But yeah, they get spooked, and then you're like, oh. And they can bite actually too, which is like a little scary.
Yeah.
Like they'll just, yeah, they could like probably take a finger off if they wanted to, you know. So
yeah.
I haven't really experienced that. The one thing I've experienced are the monk seals scaring me. I was swimming with my friend, and I thought it was him swimming by. And it was a huge monk seal, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It scared me.
Yes.
Like I don't know, freeze. Like I don't know what do I do.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
when you're in the moment, it's like, what are you gonna, is this huge thing coming by you?
Crazy.
That's why I was like, wow. I was just like, wow.
One of my guests that I had on a few weeks ago, his name is Nick, and he owns a commercial diving company.
Okay.
So I was asking him all kinds of stories.
Cool.
Because can you imagine just at night too, like what you see down there and
wow,
crazy.
I just had my cousin. He just went to Fiji, and he posted a clip with him with sharks. Swimming with sharks.
Yeah.
So there was like a bunch.
Have you ever done that?
Nah.
Oh.
Not yet, but I would love to. Oh. I would love to, definitely.
I did that out here. I did the cageless one.
Really?
Where there's no cage. Yeah. They just teach you like basically how to do it, like because sharks are predators. So if you look like prey or you act like prey, they'll think you're prey.
Yeah.
So if you look like a shark and act like a shark, like a predator, and like just keep staring at them and keep turning around.
Yeah.
They won't bother you.
Wow.
But they're curious, They're like, what is that?
Yeah, like, what's that? Yeah.
Is this a predator? Is this prey? Is this food? What is this? And then if you act just as scary as them, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they won't even.
Yeah,
I only see them
interesting
in water,
and instinctual and interesting, but scary. Still scary.
Yeah, of
I don't care
course.
how you spin it. It's still scary. Because unpredictable. They're unpredictable. Yeah.
And it's in the moment. You never know what could happen within that moment. So that's like the adrenaline rush. You know?
I would be. I've seen a lot of really cool shark tattoos. I would be really, really down to paint some shark stuff. Like I think that would be cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
The turtles might be too hard.
Well, they kind of are at first. I was just like, man, this is just, and I love details. So getting into like the neck area, the hand area, it's just I'm there like
right. Like what does this look like? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the big one is almost like kind of overwhelming when I start because it's like I gotta do all this.
I feel like you have to like take a step back too and kind of.
Yes, absolutely.
Like revision it. Like where's the vision?
Yeah. Boy, this thing is heavy, huh? This thing keeps on dropping. Yeah. I'm almost like, let me pick it back up myself. Oh.
It's okay.
It's we need a table. Okay, there you go.
All right.
That's all right. Well, we are almost out of time. Is there anything else you want to add to the? Advice or painting inspirations?
Inspiration. I just, inspire others to dig into their creative side, dig into what they love to do, because it's only but so much time. And we get caught up in this world and a lot of things that take us away from our like creative side.
That's true.
Especially AI. AI right now is big. AI is taking away a lot of people's creative side.
That's a good point, yeah.
And your phone, you're in your phone for like however long, you're not even aware of things around you. Mm-hmm. That's like another world, Or it's like, don't be into your phone, don't be into like social media like that, but use it. I get my pictures from my phone. I ask certain questions to get certain answers from my phone. I feel it's time wasted when you're scrolling for hours and then you look up, it's like, damn, I've been there for like 2 hours.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you could have been doing a lot within those 2 hours.
Yeah, and you could have finished a mural, a whole mural, yeah.
Or you're painting, you're drawing, whatever you're creating, get into what you love to create. you know, and you create that, you know, sense of fulfillment, and you create more of yourself. You get to tap into who you are.
There is a fulfillment there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why social media is so addicting, is that it's getting something, but you're not actually yet getting the fulfillment. So
Yeah.
it's like you're stuck in that middle portion of the
Yes.
dopamine.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, what I like about painting and art or whatever, even because I do music too, is
Oh, yeah.
is when it's complete.
Yes.
You know, and you're like, yeah, like it's complete now.
Yes. That's something that I put together. That's something that I did.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard to find that nowadays.
Yeah.
You know.
So keep painting.
Yes.
More time painting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get into yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, stay creative, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode with Nathaniel. I will link all of his art on the bottom. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching Lucy's Paradise Podcast. Aloha.
Aloha.